Your top 10 decks for post-Doom of Dimensions. Now make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oscar. We're going to start off over here with the wonderful world of Sky Striker. Now the reason why I'm putting Sky Striker on this list as a top 10 is because that mystical space Typhoon draw support to draw 2, discard a quick play spell card from your hand is such a revolutionary game changer for the way that this deck actually wants to play. And it's actually like incredibly good at how much more consistency you're kind of able to give to the deck, just to make sure, you know, you're able to get those interactions set up and go. And honestly, a lot of people just aren't really respecting Sky Striker as a deck, especially when this deck can kind of come out of left field and just close the gap, and it just ends up destroying you. Honestly, I think it's a very solid metagame pick. And then we have Mitsurugi. Pure Mitsurugi has not left the building. I don't know why people think that this is the case right now. Because, yeah, you lost King of the Pharaoh Limbs. Oh no, you can stick 2 monsters together that are level 4 and you can make full Fiendsmith combo if you want to bridge into that. Or you can just play pure Mitsurugi at that point. You've got options, people. It has not changed on that front. But I think that the pure variant is definitely going to be something that a lot more people are going to explore. They're going to look at and they're going to go, hey, you know, this actually seems like kind of a good idea. And I do agree with you, honestly. I think that the pure variant's probably going to be one of the scarier options that's kind of running around in the room. If you're not really willing to respect that deck, well, you're just going to get board wiped after board wiped after board wiped, and you're going to be confused. And then we have Crystron. So, the loss of inclusion does stink. I don't think anybody's really, you know, too upset about that, but you just kind of shifted the deck towards more canine monsters, you know. Nori does 2 very beautiful things for the deck. Nori ensures that, one, it is a machine that you are able to, you know, possibly revive off of Lantern, and, you know, continue on combo lines with that, which is fantastic, by the way. But also, you can now normal summon Nori and get a peek into your opponent's hand and see, oh, is there a hand trap or something in there that I need to play around? You know, getting that knowledge and deciding, hey, you know, I need to go from here in my play line and adjust and, you know, prepare a counterplay for this, just opens up so many more doors. All right, and then Lunalight. So I think, honestly, Lunalight in this format, as long as the deck doesn't get hand-trapped out of its mind, I think that it's going to be probably one of the more chaotic choices that you can actually play with. Because, honestly, Yummy doesn't beat a Towers. There's no way. And I don't think that Yummy's going to make concessions to try to beat this deck. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be the choice for them to deal with. It's just, they're going to have to hand trap you and try to choke you out before you get to the big Lunalight. Or they're going to have to try to attack over it, which realistically is going to be very hard to do when you can just fling a monster out of your extra deck and board wipe them. And it just puts them into such a worse position than they initially were. I think that this deck is probably going to be one of the sleeper options kind of going forward for the meta. And then we have Vanquish Soul Canine, but it's actually just Canine featuring Vanquish Soul cards. It's such a funny thing to say it like that, because that's just how much this deck has fundamentally changed. Realistically, the Vanquish Soul deck, I mean, you lost 2 Stake Your Souls. You lost 2 Rosins. You basically are back at the Stone Ages now with how this deck functionally worked. Actually, I think you're worse off than the Stone Ages. I think you might be back at planet formation levels of deck devastation. But either way, consistency is your problem. You're down so much fire now. I really do. Do you play multiple start now? Do you play Pantera? I don't know how to go about this, but I think just having more Vanquish Soul is probably the thought process with this. Fiendsmith. Oh boy. You know, there is a lot of concepts that you can work with the Fiendsmith department. Robbie, we lost Underworld Goddess. Okay? And you have Exciton Knight, you have the Jin Melody, rank 3. You've got all of these different options that you could navigate under, and there's not really much of a problem with that. I think the thing that's got people like trying to figure things out is just maybe they're just not prepared. I don't know, but the Fiendsmith stuff is really, really splashable right now, man. You just have to get to a light fiend and you start combo. Also, now you actually have access to Rex Tremende, which is a very threatening endboard piece. You've also got Desiree. I think you've got some very, very good stuff. Ryzeal, featuring Mitsurugi, Fiendsmith, Zodiac. So, Ryzeal lost X to 1, which was a pretty devastating blow to the deck. Like, let's call it what it is. But the problem was X was just doing so much for this. You know, you could drop a Valo, get it set up. You know, your detonator's getting multi-purposing, swings. You got to get the Equips twins down to, make sure that the detonator keeps spinning back. It was very problematic, but the problem here is Ryzeal's still here. You've got Heraldic Beast, you've got Mitsu, you've got Fiendsmith, you've got Zodiac, you can incorporate it. You have so much for this rank 4, still have the Utopia stuff too. I think that this deck, even if it does not end up being a major top contender, I think even in the rogue category, for the people that are going to experiment around with this, you've got options, and that's very cool. Dracotail. Oh boy. So, Dracotail lost to nothing on this list, and I think a lot of people are very, very freaked out about this. I don't know why. It's just going to be a lot of window grinding, a lot of weird summon aspects, a lot of things that you're just going to be like, oh, hey, wow, that's a thing. And, I mean, yeah, it is. That's the thing that makes Dracotail look like such a majorly fun deck right now, is I think just this deck does very, very strongly. Honestly, I don't know. It also depends on what you want to splash into the deck. Like I said, you got shit all. I've seen some Blue Eyes kind of being splashed around, so you could Buster Lock people. I don't know how consistent that's going to be on paper. But, I mean, those are options that you have. So we'll wait and see how Dracotail does. I definitely know it will be up on the top for sure. And then we have K9 with parentheses Majour lock. So we just didn't deal with the Majour lock like at all during this list, and I'm not too happy about that. I do think that the Majour lock is going to be a very solid choice that people are going to be gravitating towards this format, wanting to test out. It just absolutely makes sense to me that that's going to be a choice. All right, also, Pure Canine, looking very, very solid right now as a choice, too. I don't know how they're going to build the deck. Obviously, Nori really patches up the things that this deck wanted to be having. So, we'll wait and see. I definitely would not be surprised to see something kind of cool come out of the deck build department here, at least in terms of, that. And then we leave Yummy sitting on the throne here. I don't think it's much of a discussion unless, you really kind of acknowledge your new smiley, happy overlords. Because at this point in time, very realistically, Yummy sitting on the throne. They lost Solemn Judgment, which a lot of people are kind of questioning. It's because they didn't want Yummy to basically be able to protect themselves from getting the constant bombardment of Regekis and things. It is an extremely large combo-heavy deck, but, 2 Regekis pretty much cleans it up. Well, let's call it what it is. As long as you can clean up the Herald and then Regeki, I don't think they're really recovering from that. But this is your new format for the rest of this month. It's a time. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let's see your beautiful faces back here in day, guys. Patrons! Thank you! Ah!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.